honor for me to address this great group of unionists. This week in Berlin there were many trade union meetings, and they were all different, but I think this is the most exciting trade union and labor movement group which is meeting this week in Berlin. And we have here people who are union officials, who are union organizers, who are union communicators, who are union educators, who are the activists. But what is uniting us all is that we are all agitators. We believe that trade union organization and organization of the workers is not just about changing things for better in the workplace. We believe that by building union power, by building workers' organization, we must and we can change the world. And what is this vision which we all share? From my point of view, this is about very basic thing, which is the dignity. In the first day at the opening of the conference and during many workshops here, there were lots of examples given how workers collectively can exercise their power to achieve the dignity which they deserve, and which the companies and the multinational corporations and the states very often attack because they don't want to respect workers. This human dignity of the workers is under attack from the companies, and I would like to point out once more at this poster of Pepsi Smash. PepsiCo is not just one of multinational corporations. It is one of the most ugly, anti-union, anti-worker corporation. The union busting is in the nature of this company. From the very first day when I started my work in IVF, in the International Union of Food Workers, I know that this is one of the most difficult and most impossible companies to tackle. And by saying that, I mean it's not just, union unfriendly like many American corporations or like many corporations. But I mean that this is a corporation which has a policy of constantly attacking workers' rights and union rights. They hire the most expensive union-busting experts, which are at source for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they are reacting very fast and very professionally to any kind and any form of union organization on screen. You probably heard a lot of stories about workers' struggles in Coca-Cola. But that is mostly due to the fact that there are workers organizing in Coca-Cola. It is also very hard and difficult, but it is possible. While in PepsiCo, for naturally most of the workforce of PepsiCo, this is simply impossible. And I give you an example, which is quite recent and from one of the European countries. The night shift of the factory which produced Frito-Lay chips. 100 female workers, during 2 years, constantly abused and called by the male managers into their manager's office and harassed sexually and abused sexually. For 2 years, they didn't dare to say about this in public or to make it known. While when they started to try to change this ugly situation, the company reacted immediately. These workers, the female workers who were involved in this, they were fired without any possibility to exercise any kind of rights protection. The union at this plant was destroyed. And this all happened here in Europe, in Poland, in one of the countries of the European Union. And we were not able to do anything to protect this woman and to make the company accountable for these ugly abuses. From year to year, we hear these similar stories. while the company was very, very effective in preventing workers from joining the union. And the last story we've heard yesterday, in India, the company asked and tried to force the workers to stamp on their union membership card to show that they don't support the union as a condition for them returning to work. And you've heard that 28 of them refused to do that because these are the workers who believe that they must have dignity, the human dignity, and they are prepared to protect this dignity from this attack. And we have to do everything possible to support them in this forefront fight in the PepsiCo. This is going to be a very, very tough struggle, not like a regular corporate campaign, but it's a real work. We will need your support. Please, if you don't have it yet, there are still leaflets available. They tell you how to get in touch and how you can help us to change things with this multinational company. The other area where the attacks are coming from, side by side, hand by hand with transnational companies, we constantly hear horrible stories, and they're getting more and more horrible, about the state repression, which takes now the form of open attacks on the workers, where they're not just thrown out of the job and not just blacklisted, but they've been physically killed. The first day we were talking about different words which become the symbols, become the symbolic of this repression. Somebody mentioned marijuana. I would like to add to this the word Zhanaozen, the city of Kazakhstan, where the workers, the oil workers, were shot to death, at least 16 of them, after being on strike for 6 months. And instead of negotiations, they were asking for the state use of police, the armed police force, and simply shot the people. I think it will also be important to remember today the events which took place 25 years ago, exactly in this period of the year, in China. In May 25 years ago, the mass movement of students, which also included a mass movement of workers with the Autonomous Workers' Federation in China, demanded a change. The people were talking about the dignity, and they were talking about the freedom. When this mass events in Tiananmen Square, a mass mobilization campaign, was taking place for a few weeks, in May, the state officials said, we will now not tolerate it anymore. We're going to end it up, and we're going to use the force. There were a lot of debates in Tiananmen Square these weeks about should we stop now or should we continue. And the majority of people at Tiananmen Square decided to stay. They knew that they're going to be attacked. They believed their state. And what they've done, they cleaned up the square, organized it in a better order, and were prepared to face this brutal violence, which happened on the 4th of June. This was a spontaneous movement of people fighting for their dignity. When they were asked, what are your demands, what do you want? In one of the interviews, they said, it was a student who was interviewed, he said, we want freedom. And the journalist said, what does it mean, freedom? And the answer was, more democracy. Yeah, but what more democracy means for you? That means freedom. Was quite naive reflection of what people breathe with. And they were prepared to face this violence. And many people, as a result of this brutal massacre, were killed. But they sent a very, very powerful message to all of us, to the whole world. The message is the human dignity and freedom is something worth fighting for, and is something which is even worth giving your life for. And this is the message which the workers in Zhanaozen and the workers in Marikana were carried through the decades and years, spread around the world. And this is the message which LabourStart, in its nature, is carrying forward. This is a message which we have to continue, distribute and circulate. These few days were quite challenging. We had lots of people here with different political views, and some of the debates I was taking part in were quite heated, and sometimes even not really friendly. But we may have political differences and disagreements, but at the end of the day, when we all at our homes and our workplaces, when we get a message from LabourStart asking for help, it's a screaming message. We treat it as an appeal from somebody whose rights and whose dignity is under attack. And we are going to show our support and spread the word around and help these people, because we understand we have this common sense of dignity. An attack on one worker is an attack on the whole working class to which we belong, irrespectively of our political views. Just to conclude, I'm very grateful to all of you and to LabourStart founder Eric Lee for this great initiative, and I feel really proud to be part of this family. Please, let's carry on. Let's make us a bigger organization, a bigger platform. Currently, our rights are under attack and we are under defeat. We have to turn the situation, and we shall act more proactively, getting more and more thousands and thousands of people involved in this movement for the change in the world. Thank you very much.